It's funny is that they didn't just build the cage, they made you buy it. Somebody left me a comment on my last video about Advance Auto Parts. One of the biggest suppliers is closing 700 stores. And he said, time to learn how Cuba keeps their stuff running. Well, here's the big difference. Cuba was forced into this by an embargo. Our fucking government is doing this to us. So let me go ahead and show you that pipeline. All right. Step one, we'll destroy the alternative. So between 1936 and 1950, General Motors and Standard Oil bought up the electric streetcar system in 45 major American cities. They ripped up all the tracks and destroyed public transportation specifically so that you would buy a vehicle. And don't get me wrong, they were convicted in court. They were charged a whopping $5,000. That's it. Step two, destroy the older cars. They mandated ethanol in your gas, which literally eats your fuel lines of older engines. Step three, cut off the auto parts supply. Advance Auto Parts is closing 700 stores. And the fucking crazier part is their parent company, Fram Filters and Autolite Spark Plugs, just filed for bankruptcy. So you can't even fix your older car if you want to because you can't buy the fucking parts. So what's left? Step four, force you into a new vehicle. So what's coming down the pipe in 2027? If you guess the AI mandate kill switch, ding ding, motherfuckers, you got it. And you know the crazy part about that though is they want to claim safety and all this bullshit where it can, watch your eyes, your movements, but then it can just shut your car off whenever it fucking decides to. Weird. And then they're selling it as it's a safety thing. Safety and progress. Really? Just like the self-driving cars in California right now, because they just passed a law that's effective July fucking 1st that allows the government to geofence your vehicle. Do you understand what that means? So they can digitally trap your car, reroute it, shut the fucker off, and be like, well, it's an emergency. The EFF is already warning that these vehicles are mass surveillance machines on wheels. They didn't just build the fucking cage, they destroyed the alternative, watered down your fucking fuel, bankrupt the auto supplier, and then force you to buy the cage itself. Stop calling this bullshit progress. This is fucking control. So while everybody was arguing about whatever name dropped on this timeline this week, the government quietly secured the ability to turn off your car while you're driving it. And I'm not talking about a conspiracy theory. No, I'm talking about Section 24220 of the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. Yeah, it mandates that by 2027, every new passenger vehicle must advance impaired driving technology. Shit, it sounds great on paper. Stop drunk drivers. I'm all about that life. But the fine print tells me otherwise. It requires passive, continuous surveillance of the driver. So monitoring your eyes, your head, your movements, and your behavior. And it gives the car the authority to shut down the engine if the AI detects or decides you're not fit to drive. Even the National Highway Traffic Administration admitted to Congress that the tech is not ready. They said that 99.9% accuracy, it would still generate millions of false positives a year, meaning millions of people stranded on the side of the road because an algorithm made a mistake. But it gets worse. Where do you think that surveillance goes to? Well, if you think it goes to a privacy expert confirmed in a cloud type situation, you'd be correct. Experts have already made the fucking connection, realizing that automakers are already updating their terms of service to sell your behavioral data to insurance companies to generate you a fucking risk score. Some lawmakers try to stop it, actually. Representatives Thomas Massey introduced an amendment to defund the mandate. Reps John James co-sponsored a bill to kill it also. But in January of 2026, 57 Republicans joined 211 Democrats to vote it down. They voted to keep the kill switch mandate alive. The vote failed, 164 to 268. This is how the game is played. They flood the zone with noise while quietly building the architecture of control right in your fucking driveway. Stop looking at the smoke and start looking at the actual policy.
Alright, so here's what I've been seeing. A lot of car part stores like Advanced Auto Parts have been closing a lot of locations due to profitability issues. Even though recently they reported a profit, this only occurred due to closed stores and cut costs. And at the same time, their revenue has still continued going down in certain quarters. So obviously the industry is adjusting to something new. Now, I could be wrong, so take this with a grain of salt, but I feel like we're in one of those transition periods in the auto world. We've seen things like cash for clunkers in the past, where the push was to get people into newer vehicles, and now with how fast technology is moving, more cameras, more sensors, and more AI features in cars, old vehicles are slowly becoming less and less common. I'm not saying anything drastic is going to happen overnight, but over the next few years, I think we're going to keep seeing changes in how cars are built, how they're repaired, and even how long they last on the road. And if that happens, it could definitely impact a lot of parts stores and the whole repair industry. That's just something worth paying attention to, though.
So, if you saw my last video about that mandate about the government kill switching our cars and stuff, right? In 2027, you probably asked yourself first, you're like, fine, I'll just go and buy an old car. And I've seen the comments, I've seen it all. And trust me, I thought the same thing. I was like, yeah, bro, like, no. Well, here's how they've already planned for that one. Ready? In March of 2026, the EPA issued an emergency waiver allowing E15 gasoline. That's 15% corn ethanol to be sold nationwide year-round. Congress is currently trying to make that permanent. So it sounds like a move to lower gas prices, but here's what they're not telling you at the pump. E15 is literally illegal to put in your car before built in 2001. Why? Well, because ethanol is a powerful solvent. It eats the rubber fuel lines, it corrodes steel gas tanks from the inside out, and it attacks water, causing your engine to choke. Mechanics shops are documenting this right now. The alcohol scrubs years of varnish off of your tank, clogs your filters, and causes vapor lock. Automakers themselves warn that this could have cost drivers up to $4,000 in per vehicle repair. Who benefits from this? The corn ethanol lobby spent $187 million buying influence in Washington. In return, they've received over $20 billion in taxpayer subsidies to water down your fucking gas with a product that takes 1 gallon of fossil fuel just to produce 1 gallon of fucking ethanol. It's a pipeline, the mandate fuel that slowly destroys your older independent vehicles. The repairs become too expensive. You're forced to buy a new car, and newer cars comes with your fucking AI mandatory kill switches. Stop looking at the smoke and look at the fucking policies, people. Share this. Do you guys want a finale? I think you do, because millions of you watch my series on this whole kill switch thing, and guess what? Now I'm showing you the illusion of choice. Congressman Massey tried to defund the kill switch. It failed. 164 to 268. 57 Republicans crossed the aisle and voted with the Democrats to keep it. This is not a left versus right. This is a state versus you. And the government's own safety agency, NHTSA, admitted to Congress to the technology is not ready. They stated, and I quote, even if it was 99.9% accurate, it would still generate millions of false positives a year. Millions of times a sober person is in an emergency situation, but yet they can't start their car. And all that data collected by those cameras, you're chilling up in your car. GM was just caught by the FTC secretly selling your precise location and driving behavior to insurance companies. Why? Every 3 seconds, your car is harvesting data machine that you literally pay for. Ready for this one though? New cars sold in America will actively be watching and judging you and may decide to let you drive. That's not just me saying that shit. That's the AutoPain, April 2026. And here's the missing link. And I have gotten hundreds of DMs. Cash for clunkers. Ready for this one? In 2009, the government spent $3 billion to pay dealerships to pour sodium silicate into the engines of 677,000 perfectly working fucking vehicles to prevent them, to permanently destroy them. Older, affordable, surveillance-free vehicles. They destroyed public transit. They mandate ethanol. They paid for fucking cash to crush your old car. They bankrupt the auto supplier. And now they're forcing you into a 2027 auto surveillance machine with a kill switch that they can decide if they think you're not fit. Stop calling this progress, people. All right. I'm probably going to make you a little upset, but that's okay. I showed you how they were destroying the auto parts industry. And of course, we are all like, shit, we need to, A, B, C. Advance Auto Parts is closing 700 stores. First Brand liquidating, and I showed you that they're forcing you into, these new AI kill switch vehicles by 2027. But I haven't showed you who actually owns the chessboard. So I need you to look at this. Who owns AutoZone? The number 1 and number 2 shareholders are Vanguard and BlackRock. Who owns O'Reilly Parts? Vanguard and BlackRock. Who owns Advance Auto Parts? The companies that are shutting down hundreds of stores. Vanguard and BlackRock. So they own the aftermarket parts industry that is currently being systematically dismantled. But wait, there's got to be a way we got a dog in this fight, right? Like maybe the auto manufacturers. Let's take Ford for an example. Oh shit, Vanguard, BlackRock. Not old GM, those Chevy boys. You guessed it, Vanguard, BlackRock. They're the exact same 2 investment firms that own the auto parts companies they're shutting down. Also own the automakers' buildings that surveillance the vehicles that they are forcing you literally into. They profit from the destruction of the old market, and they profit from the construction of the new one. They manage over $20 trillion combined. They are the top shareholders and out of 505 companies and the SD&P, they own all of them. 505. And by the way, the number 1 shareholder of BlackRock is Vanguard. It's a closed loop, people. This isn't a conspiracy. It is literally a business model. You buy the cage and they own the patent. So stop calling this progress. So I keep seeing this comment that I'll just pull the fuse. I'll hack the computer. I'll disconnect the kill switch. No, you won't. And I'm going to explain to you exactly how they designed the system to make it so you can't do that. So modern cars today don't just have computers. They have what's called a TCU, a telematics control unit. It has its own dedicated cellular connection that is always on, and every single sensor in your vehicle is hard-coded to your VIN. So if you tamper with the sensor, pull a fuse, or try to bypass the ECU, the car instantly generates a diagnostic trouble code, a DTC, and because the TCU is always connected, it immediately flags the tamper event to the manufacturer's cloud. Don't believe me? General Motors just banned by the FTC for 5 years because the OnStar system was secretly tracking driver behavior and braking acceleration to include location, and then taking that information and selling it to insurance agencies. How often? Every 3 seconds. A modern connected car generates up to 25 gigabytes of data every single hour. Ford just filed a patent for its camera that uses machine learning to read your lips, scan your irises, and monitor your heart rate to decide if you're fit to drive. If you just disconnect that DCU, you lose your navigation, your digital dash, your radio, and your insurance company. Who is buying the data? Instantly knows your car went dark. That's a fucking red flag. They destroyed the used car market with Clash for Clunkers. They degraded older engines with ethanol. They are forcing you into data harvesting machines. You cannot hack your way out of this shit. This is the grid, and you're stuck in the fucking cage. Yeah, we're going to do it again. You're not going to like this. A lot of you asked me, write questions and comments. If the 2027 kill switch is real, how are they going to monitor it on the road? You think they just woke up and decided to do this? This is the shittiest part. They didn't just put a kill switch in your car. They built the entire system, and you're ready for this one? And they've been doing it for 35 years. And WTF, mate. So, cheers. Step 1. 1991, George H.W. Bush signs the ISTEA bill that created the Intelligent Transportation System program 35 years ago. Then in 1999, the FCC quietly reserved a specific radio frequency, the 5.9 gigahertz band, strictly for vehicles to talk to road infrastructure. Before you even had a smartphone, they were laying down the groundwork. Let's go ahead and fast forward, all right? We'll just jump, 30 years. Fast forward to 2021, Infrastructure Investments and Job Act. That's a $1.2 trillion bill, people. Everyone talks about Section 24220, the kill switch mandate. But guess what else? In that exact same bill, billions of dollars are in funding for V2X, vehicles to everything infrastructure. The kill switch is useless without the grid. They funded both at the exact same time. So let's talk about this. What is V2X? It's roadside units, communication towers placed every 655 feet along highways. Michigan is already building the first smart highway on I-94 right now. Poles every 655 feet with cameras, radars, LiDAR, and AI computers. And it's being built by a company called Cavnu, which is backed by, you ready? Fucking Google. Google is literally building the surveillance for the highway. And while they build that, they're already deployed the license plates readers. Flock safety cameras are now in over 5,000 police departments and 6,000 communities. They're scanning 20 billion vehicles every single month. Many of these were installed with zero public vote. The Transportation Department just released their national V2X deployment plan. Their goal, 75% of all U.S. highways fully equipped with this fucking grid system by 2026. But they want 20% done this year. The car talks to the road talks to the cloud decides if you can drive, the kill switch is just the one button, the grid is the cage. So stop fucking calling this progress. These people are in control.
So yeah, Advanced Auto Parts said like 700 stores are closing, and that's a lot, I'm not gonna lie. That's not just a small change, but that's a huge shift. And when I think about it, it kind of feels like this is happening at the same time cars are changing too. Like newer cars are often software based, they have cameras everywhere, sensors, internet connectivity, and all that stuff. And a lot of it is useful, but it also means cars aren't just mechanical things anymore. They're basically computers on wheels. And I guess one thing I keep thinking about is how much control is moving into software. Like updates, restrictions, even features being enabled or disabled remotely. Stuff like that, you know what I mean? It's not even necessarily good or bad at its principle, but I personally find it invasive since these different technologies being implemented will passively monitor you. I could be wrong though, so take this with a grain of salt.
Fellow motorheads, all right, guys. So, boys, we're in trouble. We're in deep trouble. We already knew the automotive industry was getting hit left and right, and for us guys who run repair shops and do things, it's going to get real hard. Let me explain to you what's going on. I had somebody call me today for a 2018 Ford, I think it was. I didn't write all the information down. Needed a power steering pump. I said, okay, we'll see what we can do. So called all the three that we have around here, the big parts companies. Don't have them. One said they could special order it. A really cheap pump. Okay, they could special order it. So went down the rabbit hole, went to looking. Okay, in 2023, a private equity group bought out some of the major parts remanufacturers like Cardone, Trico, stuff like that. In January of 2026, they filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. They're already starting to break up all the assets. Cardone started in Philly, great big manufacturing outfit in Philly, and they had a lot of employees, and they were offering pump rebuild services, power steering box rebuild services. I mean, they did a lot of stuff. Half of this stuff that we brought out of that warehouse is Cardone stuff. And come to find out, you're not going to get it anymore. Okay, Cardone, the factory has already been broken up. The employees have been laid off. Yeah, this is a crazy rabbit hole. We all love these older vehicles, but I got news for you. Now I see why everybody was on that 78 Ford. You got minimal stuff there to repair. You don't have to worry about Cardone that often. And now I see, I knew going out there and getting all these car parts. For you guys that don't know, I just secured and brought back to Delaware 300,000 brand new car parts, all in boxes, brand new. And stuff that was made in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. There's a lot of Cardone stuff in there. And now they're shutting the factories down, and we're not even going to be able to get parts. They're going to force us to buy new vehicles. Man, this is mind-blowing. we all knew it was kind of heading in this direction, but we all kind of hoped. You know, Cardone opened, they've been open for 50 years. They were a family-run business, and the money got to them. Either that or you know, who knows what happened. But this is mind-blowing to me. You know, Cardone was one of the go-to companies. And Cardone, Trico, and 4 other companies, they're gone. They're gone. Okay? Yep. Gonna have to find new rebuilders. Yep, gonna have to train the young generation how to rebuild this stuff, or we're gonna be forced to their electric cars. We're gonna be forced to all electronic stuff. You know, this is why I got a carburetor on my car, not electronic ignition. A carburetor, I have a whole box full of carburetor gaskets. I can rebuild that carburetor. I can rebuild that distributor. I can fix what I need to fix. I'm not afraid to take a power steering pump apart and put new seals in it. Yeah, it takes a lot out of time compared to going up and buying a $200 new pump or you know, but the only pump we could find was a Motorcraft pump for $600. $600 for a Motorcraft power steering pump for that 2018 truck. That's pretty ridiculous. And that makes it hard for anybody to even have an older vehicle. Am I ranting? Sure. Did I know it was going this way? I had a feeling. But, yeah, this is pretty scary, guys. So, I thought the snowmageddon was over. We're back under snow. Hopefully it'll be gone in a couple days. We get all this stuff out of here. Yesterday, I launched the campaign for giving parts away. It's all the information's on the storefront. We're going to give away close to $2,500 in brand new car parts. Yep, we're asking for donations to help us do all this stuff because we have a lot of inventory to do, but it's not necessary. You can go to SaveTheParts.org. You can submit your email. Your emails are going to be safe. We're a very small group of people. We're not selling out. And when we're done selling parts or whatever happens, you know, the emails are going to be for the Motorhead Men Foundation and for the newsletters. But have never going to sell anybody's email address. And what's going to happen is when you submit your email, we're going to put it on a piece of paper. We're going to cut the paper up. We're going to put it in a bowl, and we're going to draw names on live events so everybody can see that there's no games with this. So stay tuned for more information on all that. It is put out. The donation button is on. Everything is out there for the on SaveTheParts.org. And I'm going to look more down this rabbit hole because our industry's in trouble. Our old car industry is in deep, deep trouble. And I didn't think it was coming this fast. So, there's my information for you guys. You guys on TikTok. My longer videos are on YouTube now. Tired of playing the games with all the algorithms. And people are telling us some good car shows to go to. This spring, we're going to be out traveling to a lot of car shows and bringing our parts to the car shows and telling people all about our foundation. So stay tuned, guys. We better band together and make a difference. Because if not, we're going to have a bunch of old vehicles sitting around without parts if we don't start securing what we need now. I had one guy who wants to make a list of everything he needs for a 91 Ford. And I told him, I said, brake rotors, calipers, master cylinder. I can supply you with the stuff that I do have. But that stuff's not going to last forever. So I got some good old stuff here, guys, built in the 90s. So you better get into the store for stuff that you might need and make your list. Because we're going to give it away at fair prices, all to raise attention to our foundation. And hopefully, if you save enough money in parts, maybe you'll donate a few dollars. We'll see, guys. My rant for today. Kuda Bill out for now.
So interesting to see how people are finally waking up to the fact that American car-dependent infrastructure is literally ruining the United States. Yet so many of these same people are still out here defending capitalism. And it's like, you do not fully even understand. One of the main driving forces behind capitalism is figuring out what commodities can be extracted and then sold back to you. And car dependency is exactly that. The vacation destinations in America are just walkable cities. The best example of this is Disney World or Universal or another theme park. They have extracted the luxury of being able to walk around, of being in a social environment, and sold it back to you as a $150 ticket to Universal as a form of escapism when it really should just be normal everyday life, and it is in many other countries. I feel like this is a huge reason as to why the Disney adult is even really a thing, and also a huge reason why so many Americans say that college is the best 4 years of your life, when really it's just these are the only places where you have access to like a walkable community environment all the time. The way that we've also been propagandized to believe that every person should be owning a car, and for some reason if you're not, then you're a loser. The general cultural perception that like walking or taking the bus or like riding your bike instead is somehow frowned upon. Yet it's always the cities where people are walking around and bicycling around and taking public transportation that are like the romanticized cities. Like think of NYC. And again, these cities normally being the richer cities or richer areas of the city because the luxury of walkability was extracted and now is only available to those who can afford it. There's a really good video on the 1950s car propaganda that I'll like post here. It's from the creator Not Just Bikes, and they explain everything way better than I possibly can, but there's also like a whole walkability community on YouTube. If this is the type of stuff that interests you, I would highly recommend checking them out.
Yo, so if you guys enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Hope you guys all have a great day. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.